So, yeah, what you're looking at here isn't exactly how the game should go, but, well, I suppose you can see for yourself. Now that that's out of the way, let's get back to the video, shall we? Welcome back to Fuego Gaming. I am Biggie, and we're going to be talking about Warzone, or specifically how Warzone is looking for players who may have lapsed off of the game, players who may be new to the game. We're talking about coming back to Call of Duty Warzone for me after like 10,000 years. But anyway, we're going to be talking about the new map, which is Fortune's Keep, the good and the bad. And we're also going to be talking about Caldera Clash, which it's a tongue twister, isn't it? Caldera Clash, Caldera.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
So we're talking about the good and the bad from Fortune's Keep, which is where you get resurgence, your solos, your trios, your quads. I think that's just about it, right? Oh, with your duos as well. Anyway, the good points. The map is colorful, it's interesting to look at and to traverse, and Resurgence, they pretty much brought back most of the people who had left from the game because of Rebirth. To be fair, Rebirth was one of the only modes that was keeping me interested in Warzone, but the problem is, it kind of got long in the tooth. After about 3, maybe 4 games, you're pretty much done with it. You're not really interested in keeping yourself in there. And the problem with Caldera is, it's so big, it's so dense. Some people just aren't really into that, even in a battle royale setting, and that's probably why I lapsed off of the game. But that's one of the good points of Fortune's Keep. It's very colorful, very nice to look at. I enjoy playing on it because it looks good, there's a lot of verticality, and it's very technical, so it rewards more styles of play, and it rewards more weapons or weapon choices. And I feel like the meta doesn't really matter as much as it used to on Rebirth Island and in Caldera. And even though I'm not really what you'd call a Call of Duty pro, I'm not even a beast at it. I don't even know what my KD ratio is. I'm very much a casual Call of Duty player, very based in the traditional Call of Duty multiplayer. That's where I've learned to play the game. That's where I play the game most often. But I feel like Fortune's Keep rewards more styles of play. It rewards people who are more willing to push, people who are more willing to maybe sit in a tower and snipe, people who are more willing to maybe hide in a corner. The thing about these games is a lot of people will try to blame people for the way they enjoy playing the game. That's not what a designer is thinking about. A designer is thinking about how can I reward and give people the gameplay loop that they're looking for in this game mode. It is a battle royale mode, it is a resurgence battle royale, and I think that they've done a really good job of giving players a map where your fighting style, your style of getting into engagements and gunfights is rewarded if you're going to put the time into getting good, learning all the nooks and crannies, and that's how you recognize that this is a well-designed map. But on the downside, this is something that's always going to be inherently within battle royale game modes, and at the end of the day there's always going to be a huge skill gap. And the fundamental problem with Warzone as an entire package is that it's not as welcoming to new players as it could be, and Fortune's Keep can seem like a bit of a closed club. I went into Fortune's Keep, I think about 2 weeks after it had been introduced to the game, and already people had started figuring out all the jump spots. People had already, I mean, there's always going to be a meta in Call of Duty, right? We can't avoid that. But the problem with Call of Duty Warzone is that the meta becomes all-consuming. If you don't have your weapons leveled up, if you don't have the right loadouts, you're always going to lose in a gunfight. Even where you get the drop on someone, because someone has more knowledge in terms of the meta, it becomes a disadvantage for you. And I think that can turn players away. Even if you're good at something like maybe PUBG, you just don't have a leg up in this game because there's just so many things that you need to be conversant with. You need to be good at slide cancelling, you need to be good at drop shotting, you need to be good at quick scoping if you're a sniper, etc, etc, etc. Those are the things that maybe just turn people away from the game. But at the same time, it could be said that that's an incentive for people to get good. And I don't like using that term or that reference or that phrase, but I think it does work for the game and against the game at times. Another bad point, which I suppose we're never going to get rid of because of the engine and because of all the technical issues and because there's just so many different moving parts in this game mode, the technical issues. You saw at the beginning of this gameplay, the game just bugs out. The game goes crazy a lot. There's a lot of weird issues, glitches, artifacting, etc. on PC and on PlayStation. And I play on PS4 and PC, both low-end systems. The problem here is there's just a lot going on that really sours the experience for me, and sometimes it sours it so much that I just decide, you know what, let me just go and play something that's a little more polished, like Apex Legends, like Splitgate. There's a lot of other choices out there, and there's a lot of different games that give so much more polish than Warzone, and that's another thing that made me bounce off Caldera Clash and every other mode that they've tried to bring in as an LTM. The problem is just that the implementation sometimes seems very sloppy for me, but hopefully they fix it in good time. Now let's talk about Caldera Clash, which when it first came into the game I think was called Storage Town Clash. I don't even remember. I don't know if this is a new mode or if this is an older mode or if this has been an LTM for a long time or it's a permanent part of the game and has replaced Plunder, but this is my new favorite way to play Call of Duty, period. This is fun, it's accessible, it's easy, and the best thing about it is it introduces elements of the Battle Royale mode, the main mode, to players who may have lapsed off the game. And it also gives you a chance to level your guns up in a meaningful way. You're getting kills, the kills matter, the objectives matter. So this is, I think, the best mode that Warzone could have introduced, and a lot of other Battle Royale games have done well to introduce more accessible, more drop-in and play modes in order to give people a taste of the mechanics of the Battle Royale mode, because let's face it, Battle Royale isn't going to be popular forever. It's never going to be the one mode to end all other modes. And I'm glad that Call of Duty has recognized that their heritage lies in multiplayer, fast-paced gameplay, drop in, drop out, play a couple of games before you leave the house, play a couple of games before you sleep, and this is one of the best ways to do it. I will say it is chaotic, especially on Storage Town in Caldera, but it still allows for players to get away from constant fighting and bombardment, so you can regroup, so you can replay it, so you can regain, and this is what I enjoy most about it. Sometimes ground war can be a little bit too much for me. It's a bit of a sensory overload. Listen, I'm an old guy. I don't really want to be playing games that are just, constantly go, go, go. But with this one, it really gives you a chance to try out new strategies. Do I want to snipe on this round? Do I want to try to maybe flank the enemies? You can do that in this mode. So it's not overwhelming for players who don't have, the speed tactics, the jumping, the screaming, the all sorts of nonsense that Call of Duty players love doing, but it also rewards that if you're good at it and you put time into it. And the top bonus, you get to level up the gun so you can keep up with the ever-changing meta. Basically, what Clash does is it takes the best from Call of Duty's traditional multiplayer, ground war, and Warzone, and mixes those gameplay elements together to create something that's accessible, that's fun, that's drop in and play, and that everyone can jump into to familiarize themselves with what Warzone has to offer. Now more than ever, I'm ready to jump back into Caldera, ready to learn the map, ready to get good at playing the game, because this has made me more interested in Call of Duty as a package and as a whole. I'm more ready to get involved with the game now simply because Clash is so good. And keep in mind that, look, with Warzone, the biggest objective for the developers is to sell you battle passes, is to sell you packs so that you can keep up with the meta, so that you can customize your players. I get that. But the thing is, not everyone has the money to spend on these things, and there are players who are really into Call of Duty who have dedicated years and years to buying the games, to playing the games, to putting in time, but who just don't have the expendable income. And here's the thing, especially now with the global economy, you're looking at a bunch of people who want to be involved with the game but just can't sometimes because the meta leaves them in the dirt. You can't be running around with a Kilo 141 when the meta is an NZ and an H4 Blixen. you can't do that because you can't compete, and when you can't compete, it becomes a little annoying. It's like playing FIFA with a 2-star team and someone who's been building an ultimate squad of legends and, you know, player of the seasons plays against you. That's just not fun. So I have to say a big thumbs up to Raven Software and whoever else came up with this game mode for giving players who may not want to participate in the main economy of the game and who may not be aware of the meta, who may have lapsed from the game, who may be newcomers entirely to the game, to finally get into a mode where they can compete, where they can learn the different mechanics and different gameplay loops, and where they can also hone their style of play so that when they do get into the battle royale modes, they are equipped, they know the meta, they know how the game works, they know how the time to kill works, and they enjoy themselves a lot more. Now, the downsides are simple. Let's be honest here. I don't think this mode is going to stick around very long. Hopefully it does. Hopefully this becomes a permanent fixture in Call of Duty, because I think this alongside Ground War would be the perfect way for people to enjoy the game who may not be into the intense nature from a battle royale mode. Resurgence helps, Resurgence is good, and Fortune's Keep I think is a great way to play the game, but you want to have something that's a level below that, a level that is even easier to get into, to level up your guns, to just play. And I don't think that Resurgence really does that well enough on Rebirth Island or Fortune's Keep or in any other map. So let's hope they keep the game mode, but if they won't, then that's a problem. Another downside, the fact that Clash is based in Caldera. Splitting the whole mode up into chunks of the Caldera map where players can just have more hectic battles, where the fighting can be a lot more fast paced, is a great idea. The problem is, does Caldera lend itself to this style of play? Does Caldera lend itself to large scale battles? I don't really think it does. A lot of the different sections of the map are just not great for players who maybe want to run and gun, for players who maybe want to snipe. There's the capital city of Caldera, which I think is absolutely terrible for players who want to have close engagements, but who also want to have a bit of breathing room. There's just no flow to the maps because of the fact that there are different biomes, there are different sections that have been stuck together. There doesn't seem to be a lot of flow to them because they seem like they're just isolated chunks, which they are. The problem there that they create is that you give players the ultimatum to just get with it or just get out of the match. The capital city of Caldera, I'll usually just back out of that match and maybe hope for a storage town to come up. So I think what they should do is introduce a voting system for maps. Let us vote on where we want to play. Take that data and learn from it. That's how you're going to evolve the Caldera map. I think the capital city is absolutely terrible. I don't enjoy it. Maybe someone does. The engagements on that sector of the map just aren't great. It's too haphazard. You can get shot from anywhere. Even though there's a whole bunch of cover on the map, it's just not fun to play on because you're getting shot from miles away from someone who has a line of sight on you, and you definitely don't have a line of sight on them. It may just be because of the verticality of the map or the proximity of the buildings to one another. I don't really know. I'm not a map designer, but I do think that they need to sort that out. So finally, what is it I want to see Call of Duty or Raven Software or the whoever do with these new modes? I want them to become a permanent fixture. I want them to be the entry point into the mode, into the game as much as possible, because I think this is the best way to onboard new players into the different ins and outs of the game. For Clash, keep it as is, maybe add a few custom Clash maps. Maybe if you're going to design the Ground War map to look exactly like the Warzone map, hopefully you design that with Clash in mind. I think once they design with all their different modes in mind and not just the Battle Royale mode, maybe Raven Software could be onto something with this. Let's face it, Call of Duty is changing, which means maybe they're moving towards a free-to-play model completely, which means maybe they're going to start dumping campaigns, maybe they're going to start dumping traditional multiplayer. Maybe they're trying to merge all of these things into larger scale modes where they can consolidate their efforts and development time. Who knows? All I'm saying is I want them to consolidate their map design. I want them to consolidate their weapons pool. I want them to consolidate their game mechanics so that every player has an opportunity to dip their toes into what Call of Duty has to offer. And you can all enjoy everything that the game gives you. Not this thing where you have one section of players in multiplayer and that's all they play. And then you have another section of players who are hardcore battle royale and that's all they'll play. It should be inviting for players of every section of every different arm of the game to try out what the game has to offer. Otherwise, you're just splitting your player base and you're slowing down growth. Another thing that I hope to see in the future is them removing or maybe just nerfing the power-ups in the game. Look, I get that this is supposed to be very casual friendly, very fun, very accessible. The fact is the power-ups are a crutch. They are too plentiful on the map. There should be a more difficult way to get these power-ups, or at least the power-ups should be a lot less prevalent, because the problem here is you create a crutch for new players and then you go into the new modes, the rebirth, the resurgence or the battle royale modes, leaning on those crutches. You're leaning on hunter, you're leaning on the speed boost, which you just won't get. So if you want players to get good and try all the new modes in the game, because at the end of the day I would stick to Clash instead of even multiplayer or ground war, because I don't have those boosts. So hopefully they do think about maybe removing those boosts or cutting them down in terms of their prevalence in the map. So to conclude, what do I think about Call of Duty after 10,000 years away from it? I like it. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it a lot more than I have in the past. And the reason for that is Clash and Fortune's Keep. They're very interesting ideas that I think give me the impetus to want to sit down and learn. For the longest time, I've wanted to learn how to play FPS games with mouse and keyboard, and this is probably the best platform for me to do it. Even on underpowered hardware, I'm really keen to get into the game, to get good, get better with tracking, get better with flick shots. This is the way that I want to play Call of Duty, and I am interested in battle royales, but I don't want to have to grind everything just to be competitive, just to stand a chance in a gunfight. So, thanks for watching this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. Of course, this is more like a podcast style video. You don't have to watch the gameplay in the background, but I hope you enjoyed it anyway. So subscribe, like the video, share it with your friends, and let me know what you think in the comments about Clash, what you think about Fortune's Keep, resurgence modes in general, and where you want to see Call of Duty going in the future. Let's chat about it, let's have a talk, follow on social media and all that other good stuff, and I'll see you in the next Fuego Gaming video. Ciao.